Hey there, welcome to my channel. It's Dratlo44. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe today. So basically, I thought I would talk a little bit about some Season 4 stuff. Talk about one major change that I think we all kind of have experienced a very big difference since Season 4's come in. And that, of course, is the matchmaking side of things. Now, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit of detail, of course, throughout the video, go through a few other things, and all that stuff. But before I do get into that, what I want to talk about is the sponsorship that's done by myself. Right, basically I'm going to give away a Sky Blue Striker Interstellar once I reach that number of 250 subscribers. Now, I know Rocket League isn't being watched nearly as much, probably because of the hotter weather and some changes and all that stuff, but look, at the end of the day, this is a free item which you can keep or sell or do whatever you want with. It is one of the nicest decals in actually the Rocket League game. Even Pixel rated it as one of the top tiers, which actually I agreed with. I think the galactic look, the style, goes with a lot of cars. All you need to do is be subscribed, basically leave comments, like a comment or whatever, and of course just like on the video. I mean, the comment would be mainly your ID. And then at 250, I'll do a random number generator, and one of you lucky people will be picked out as a winner. But yeah, let me know if there's any other gifts or prizes that I can do as well, because I've got a few ideas, but I always like to hear more suggestions. Right, well, that said, let's talk about the Season 4 matchmaking changes that we've experienced. So basically, before Season 4 came, I'm sure a lot of us knew that, you just go into casual matchmaking, and of course it would be completely casual. You'd be going against random people, and you wouldn't really know the skill level necessarily. If really good players, yeah, great. But if they weren't, it didn't matter so much because it was casual. Give you a chance to try different things, maybe try different cars, just have a bit of fun with the game. And this is kind of like the example. So the gameplay in the background is just showing one of the teams that we went against. Now, I will say this is straight away. Firstly, I'm playing my Fennec, which I am dreadful with my Fennec in comparison to other cars because I never use it really. But in casual, this is where you want to use your different cars, you just do different stuff just to give it a go. And this team, I have to say, was the least sweaty team that we had gone against. Now, they're not great, and you can sort of see that by the first goal I've scored. They were sloppy. But they weren't bad. They sort of pulled it back a little bit. Now, the thing is that, a lot of the teams that we kind of come across are high diamond / champ teams, especially when you matchmake with your friend. Now, my friend JHD, who I play with quite a bit, he is sort of like highish diamond, pretty much almost champ. He's not that far off. I think he's like diamond 2 or diamond 3, and he's definitely got the skill level to get into champ, I would say. Now, of course, with matchmaking, what it's done is it goes against the highest level, and it puts us generally against these really, really high skill level players. Now, with me, really it depends on the day. Sometimes I play amazing, and yeah, I could quite easily kind of like put a good competition within that sort of level, and other days I just am tired, my concentration isn't there, and I play absolutely bloody terrible. And that is the problem with being, not maybe the hardcore gamer. I don't play all the time or anything like that. I just play when I have the chance, and I do play for my friend because I do enjoy that aspect. Now, what I do find is I think there's a lot of people that probably would agree that this has been a very big major change. Personally, a change I don't like as well. And also, I think what makes it worse is that though they changed the goal scoring aspect to now you start a late match, if you're with a random, 2-0 is the lowest or the highest that you will go. Okay, fine. I mean, that's not that bad. 2-0, you can kind of pull that back. But then on the other side, and I have to say this is the big one, is just that you cannot actually concede or kind of like, quit unless the other player wants to. So if you jump into a casual match, just quickly, a tournament starting, for example, if you are sort of jumping into a match, you can't do that now unless you're with a friend, because if you solo queue and they won't leave, you could end up missing the tournament, which is then a risk, so you can't do that now. So what happens is that, unfortunately, you either play with a friend who you can both forfeit, even if you're winning, or you can sort of basically, play the whole game, but the casual aspect has really, really gone. And of course, because you're playing sweaty players in, a lot of cases, unfortunately, what's really happening is that you just might as well be playing comp. It doesn't necessarily make it any better. Now, you could argue that, by playing these better players, it's going to make you a better player. And in some sort of cases, that's kind of true. But as a change overall, I'm not a fan of it. And how many people aren't? I mean, obviously, casual should remain casual. This was a thing that ruined another game that I play called Apex Legends. I mean, I still do play it here and there. But, realistically, the game itself has turned into a major sweatfest. And pretty much it's the same sort of thing, that they took away that casual kind of thing and they just made it really, really, really hard. Now, without being funny, I kind of have to say that, pretty much as regards to the actual gameplay, it is a lot of fun when it's good, but like Rocket League, the minute it's not going your way, it's an absolute nightmare, and that is kind of the same. Now, obviously, there are some positive changes, and I'm not one to slate or moan about, Rocket League. I think Rocket League in a whole is getting a lot better. I think there are some positive changes. I think that there are some good things. I do feel that, of course, there could be some improvements still needing to be made. And I think one of them is definitely the casual matchmaking needs to remain as casual because, I guess like anything, you just want to play, people of a similar skill level, but you don't want to be playing champs every single game when you play actually with your friend who's a bit of a higher rank. And, the thing is that, like, for me, I'm more used to it because, again, I play comp with my other friend, KI Rich, and JHD as well. I'm used to sweaty games a bit more, so it's not impossible, but I know how hard it is, and it's tiring, it's very draining. Like if you have a few casual matches, after a few you are absolutely drained, especially if it's not going your way, if they're not doing the things. Now, the reason I'm showing the gameplay is not because it was a particularly amazing game. The double tap I scored was quite nice, but this was the least sweaty team that we've come across so far. Now, these still could be actually diamonds. That's the funny thing, because I do appreciate that, of course, it does vary, and that is always going to be a big thing, but it's not much fun. Now, I would like to, hear what you think of that. I mean, do you like that particular change? Is that kind of a thing that you like, the alteration? Or do you feel that it's kind of a little bit, overwhelming as well? And a little bit stressful? Because, again, casual shouldn't be stressful. It should be fun. And when it's not fun, and when it's kind of like just really, really, really sort of like one of those things, it's very, very frustrating. And especially if you're trying to play with a car you're not very good with, like I am trying to play the Fennec, it can definitely be really, really tough. Now, one of the things I will say, I mean, with the regards to the changes, Season 4 has instigated some other changes into the game, and, they're not bad. I think that, the 2v2 tournaments is quite interesting, though, again, actually, that one also is pretty dang tough. Again, depending on what my matchmaking, but then I think you have to expect that because it is a tournament. I mean, that is understandable. But when you come into casual play and you want to play a quick match, gone are the days of just jumping into a match for a couple of minutes and having to go. I know that sometimes does disrupt the game, and it does mean that, of course, that cannot be a great thing. Sometimes you get these toxic players and then you leave. But now, if you join a toxic player on your team as a random, you can't leave because they're going to be toxic, and of course they're not going to forfeit because they're absolutely just idiots. Unfortunately, that is just the way of it in regards to that, and it's very, very, very frustrating. Very frustrating. Just one of those things where I didn't like this particular change, because casual should always stay the same. Now, as you can sort of see, the team in the background, they're not the greatest team ever, but however, they've still scored 3 goals, and this is the kind of thing. You can still lose to these kind of teams because they are actually quite good. Though I will say, we have come across champs. We come across, I think, Grand Champ 2s, I think, as well. It's been very, 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 very tight. So, yeah, I mean, I wanted to just address this. I mean, again, these kind of games, I suppose I like the casual aspect I always have. I think a lot of us do, sometimes it's just to try new things, to learn, to get better, because I just missed a ball there, which, if you're playing against a really hard team, you just cannot do. And it's one of those things where I just think that this is something that I personally didn't really like to change much, and I wanted to kind of see what other people's opinions were, because again, it's kind of interesting. I think it's just an intrigue thing, but let me know, how are you finding it so far? Are you finding it quite reasonable? If you're in gold rank, possibly you might not find it so bad, but if you are in sort of like, plat, and you've got a friend who's in it higher, are you finding the games really, really stressful as well? Do let me know. But yeah, I mean, like, that is the main sort of bulk of it. I just kind of wanted to cover that. Some changes, lots of good changes with the season as well. So don't get me wrong, there are some positives. I just want to see this one change, especially with the forfeit thing. I really just think that you should be able to leave match as and when you want to. But anyway, let me know what you think. I am pretty much done for this video, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it and kind of agree or disagree and all that stuff. And I, of course, will see you in the next video. Until then, take care and have a good weekend. All the best. Cheers now. Bye.